Hi everyone, it's Liz from Crafting with Nani. Just coming on a minute early so Jimmy Lou has a chance to get us all shared out. And I'm going to try and find myself on my laptop. So in case we lose, oh, that one worked fine. Just in case we lose comments. And I'll fix everything. So how's everybody's Thursday going? If you see that red live button, that means we're live. And I hope I'm on my right page. So I want to take a minute and just thank Jimmy Lou for hosting this. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for jumping on. It's the Junk Journaling Jamborees Journal Pals event that's going on today. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you for coming in. How is your day going? Hi, Carol. Thank you for coming in. We're going to be using some of Carol's papers today. And now I got a cat that's howling. I'm telling you, it's so hard. 2 dogs and a cat, inside cat, is just too much sometimes. But, so we have a great lineup today. I'm just going to go over the lineup real quick. Hi, Jimmy Lou. Thank you for getting us out and doing all things. And so today's lineup, I'm starting it out. And then we have the Shabby Heart by Vine. And then we have, after her, we have Sue B Designs is up. Hi, Molly. Thank you for coming in. And Nicole, thank you for coming in. And after Sue B Design is Molly Young Artists. And then it's My Artful Adventures, Christy. Just got to get me some of that Christy. She's my Texas girl. And then after her is Hanging with Mama Hall. She's getting ready to go back to school. And then we have the Messy Craft Corner, our host, Miss Jimmy Lou. She threw out my patties. We're getting Jimmy Lou on the patty road. So yeah, if everybody can kick out our cow patties, we live on a ranch, so we got plenty cow patties. So, and then after Jimmy Lou is Craft Therapy by Lisa and Maud, which is another one of my idols. I'm telling you. And then we have Crafting Time with Jamie too. And then finishing us out today is going to be Christy from Christy's Crafty Cottage. And we all have to just wish Becky the best. She was going to be in today's lineup, but she's had a little bit of illness, and we're all praying for her to have a speedy recovery, and we'll see her soon. She'll be catching up and making one of these with us. So this is the material that we have, and I did sew part of it, but we're going to finish it up. I just kind of wanted to make sure that my sewing machine was going to be a good girl. She's an oldie, but a goodie. And so I'm going to finish up sewing this side live, which is, you know, always fun. So let's get going because this hour screams by. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Jerry. Thank you for coming in. Hi, Molly Jasper. Thank you for coming. I'm just going to turn the phone just a little bit, just so you can see me sewing. So, like I said, I did sew this side already. I have this white piece of lace, and then I have this really funky, cute pink that was sent to me in a Happy Mail. And I thought, man, this is going with this perfectly. So I just took that and I laid it in there. And then this material has, you know, the 2 sides that Jimmy Lou sends us. So I chose this side. So I folded it over to make like a little pocket that we have. So all I'm going to do right now is take it to the sewing machine and put another line right down the edges to get rid of these sharp pins. So let's hope Bessie over here cooperates and works good on live Facebook. And I'm gonna just kind of, I've always been are you a left foot peddler or a right foot peddler when it comes to sewing? I can sew with either foot. I don't know, but that's just me. But I do need to put my glasses on so I can see. And excuse the cat. He's not allowed in here. This is a cat-free zone because my daughter-in-law is super allergic to cats. So I need to keep one area in my house that if they show up, they don't come very often because they live in Arizona. So this, like I said, this is my little girl. This is Bessie. She's been my sewing machine for 30-something years now. She's a Sears Kenmore, and she's a good little girl. She's done a lot of things for me over the years. I just want to make sure I get everything lined up. It looks good. But you know, when you have a 30-year-old sewing machine, you never know what's going to happen. All right. I did have to have her like tuned up a little bit. I had a friend where we used to live, and he actually worked for Sears Kenmore in the sewing department area back in the day, and he serviced these sewing machines. So he took her one day and over to his house, and he did all of the fun stuff. Thank you, Bessie, for working today. we have to give her some praise, right? Hi, Lisa. Thank you. Lisa's pages that she does is starring in this. Look what I did. I know Bobby Cat. My cat's name is Bobby. What happened was that I actually flipped that down under and didn't make sure that that was upright. So I'm just going to, you know, when you sew, you have to spend more time unsewing sometimes. So one of these little tools is the best tool for a sewer to have, right? And I am not a seamstress by any means. I am not. And I think I'll just put a little bit of glue there. I'm not going to take it back over. So I'm going to flip the camera down now so everybody can see the table. And I hope I don't lose any comments or anything. So I do have this left over. And I am going to use this as my tie. I'm just not quite sure yet how I'm going to do that. Let's get that sharp tool away. Those are like awls. Those are sharp. So I'm not sure if I'm going to sew this in on the back side and have it as a tie yet, or if I'm going to just wrap it around. And we'll make that decision later on when we see how chubby she gets. So I think it's going to be adorable. So I gathered some papers, and I have my signatures not really together, but sort of together. I didn't, you know, I just wanted to make sure I had all the papers, and nobody wants to see me like running all over the room. And like I said, I got my printables today from Lisa Siegel from the Vintage Roots Digital Designs, and I'm telling you, she does a great job. She's amazing at the work that she does, and she's just, I mean, literally, you can message her and say, please make me this, and she'll make it right away. So I am going with the 60s and the 70s hippie. We're a hippie. Because when I saw this material, all I could think about was the 60s and the hippiness of it, you know, kind of deal. And I am a hippie. I was a hippie. I was a little flower child. I used to actually paint a little flower on my face. I didn't tattoo it, but I just painted a little flower. So I am 100% hippie. So I thought, this is the book for me. This is the book. So I didn't really do the whole butterfly kind of thing, but you know, I was a hippie. I'm going to be 100% truthful with you. I wore the bandanas for my shirts, and I grew up in the 60s and the 70s, and I had a Volkswagen. Now I had a gray Volkswagen. It was a Super Beetle, but I didn't have, my girlfriend's mom had one of these. So, And then I have like all these papers that just scream out the hippiness. And this one actually matches the cover of the little flower, little, I thought I saw a butterfly on it. Yeah, little butterflies and stuff. So, and then this is Lisa's prints. This is Lisa's printables. You can find them on Facebook. They're free. The only thing we did was I had my husband move a page and shrink it down so I could get 2 pages on on one paper so I could fold it. But they're just gorgeous prints. I mean, I'm in love. This was me. No, not quite, considering I was already married at 15 and had babies. But this is what I would have been if I had gone to live on the beach somewhere. I just love it. I love it. I love it. So I am in love with these prints, and they're just gorgeous. You know, I can't tell you how many days and nights I spent at the beach next to a fire, you know, and just, I grew up in California, and I don't say do it now. Please do not do it now. There's a whole nother world out there right now, folks. Whole different world. But I used to hitchhike to the beach, so, but don't do it now. And then I got this from Carol Stinson. She sent me this papers that she did, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's gonna go so perfect in here. So we just need to build our signatures, and then we'll try sewing them in and having fun. But I'm just telling you, I was so excited when I got this material. Actually, I saw it because Jimmy Lou had posted it. She had it on her, I think it was on her sale. She was giving like a sneak peek or something. And I said, can you flip that over? So I could kind of get to see what the backside looked like. And she did, and when I saw it, I knew it. And then it's like, you know, we know about these events like in I say a couple weeks ahead of time. You know, sometimes we might know about it like a month ahead. And all the time I kept thinking, don't let anybody pick my papers. Don't let anybody pick my papers. And then it's like, a lot of us, you know, we watch all the same people and stuff, and then we're like, sometimes we talk about it, and I'm like going, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And then I'm like, don't pick my papers. So we need to settle down. We need to take a chill pill, as they would have said back in the day. Take a chill pill, girl. Take a chill pill. This is measuring 9 inches. So I need to make sure my pages, I don't want my pages over 8 inches. So we do have some cutting to do, as we did. You don't remember that paper? I thought that you put it in, I could have got it from somebody else then that sent Happy Mail, but I really thought that you sent that one, and then I thought you sent this one, Carol. and like, I don't know. But anyways, I'm using them. Whoever brought it, I thought it was Carol, but if it wasn't, then whoever it is, claim it, and I'll say thank you to it. But let's see. Okay, so we need to cut these down. I need to get back on my game here, or we're not going to get this sewed in. So I did take some music paper, and I just, you know, did the whole fold up, you know, kind of deal. And we're going to just measure that, and that's at 8 inches, so we're good with that one. So I'm going to try and make 2 piles. And then I tie-dyed these probably 8 years ago. And I thought, oh, I'm going to use that because, you know, what else are you going to use it? I tie-dyed them kind of like to make flowers back in the day when we were in lockdown. That's when I did it, during lockdown. And I thought, well, that'll go good in here. So we're going to put one of those in. And my daughter just came back from her trip. And this is from Bulgaria. She brought me back some magnets. So I thought, well, it's not really hippie, but it kind of looks hippie. So we're going to put this bag in. And we need to open up the other side. Can you tell that I'm excited by my voice? I'm like... I am the little flower child, you know. I am. I am the flower child, I'm telling you. I am the hippie. I was in that whole, and this paper just reminds me so much of the cover too, and I had that, so I just cut that in half so I could put one side in each one. But you know what, that's probably too wide. So let's see what our width is. And I added the lace because Jimmy Lou, we got to get Larry to give us just another inch or so because we need a little extra room this way. So that's why I added the lace. So we need to keep our pages probably at 6 inches, no bigger than 6 inches. But yeah, he's like, he's gonna get every inch he can. So that is 6 inches. So we should be able to use that. And then I have this paper as well that looks almost just like the same. It's almost like they found this and they copied it to make this. So we have that, but I don't want it right next to each other. So where was I? Right? I lost my squirrel. Squirrel got me. So we're just building up some signatures here. And let's put this on the outside of that. And then I'll have to line up because we want the layers and, you know, all that kind of good stuff. But I do want to make sure, see, like this paper is deceiving. So most of the flowers are going up, but then you got this flower that's going down. So it's like, I was like, is it upside down? And then I looked, no, it's not upside down because we got flowers that are up. Hi, Mary. Thank you for coming in. And is it Sharonda? Thank you for coming in. I'm assuming it's not James, it's Sharonda. I love it when couples have the same page. My daughter and her husband have the same page too. So, and then I had this vellum, and even though it's not really hippie, it still kind of reminds me of like the ivy that was real popular in that time frame. You know, everybody had an ivy plant on their porch or whatever. So we're still measuring 6 inches, and then we don't want anything over 8. And this, we have to cut down this vellum because it's 8.5 inches. So we need to cut a little bit off of the bottom of that. That 1/2 inch always gets you. And you think you're good, and then you line it up, and you got a 1/2 inch you got to get out of there. So we'll put that in there. And I haven't decided yet what I'm going to have as my center. And I do have these brown papers, and they're 8.5 too. So we're going to have to cut that down a little. We'll add that. Grover, lay down. I guess I got my dogs in here because if I don't have them in with me, they just sit at the door and they cry because they love their mommy. So I'll add that Bulgaria bag. And then this was tri-folded, and I thought about keeping it in that way. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to sew it so it's just a little bit on one side. And then it'll fold out on the other. See what I'm saying? It'll do this tri-fold thing. And then that way it'll fold up. So we're going to do that. I just have to remember that I'm doing that. And then we have our beautiful printables that we're going to put in. We'll put that one in there. And I got to trim down my printables too. See, I didn't trim all of them because I wanted to do it with you guys. So I'm taking the white off the top because I just drives me nuts. It just drives me nuts. And I think I am. No, I don't know yet. No, I'm gonna take it off. I was gonna leave it on the edge, but I'm gonna trim it off. My board is not always a good board. I mean, I've enjoyed it, but it's like, so, oh, you know what we didn't do is we did not trim this paper down because it's an 8.5 by 11. So I need to trim them off, which is okay because it had like a little tear on the top anyway. So that fixes that problem. So let's put that one back in. So who's looking forward and seeing what everybody else is? I'll give you guys an extra inch next time. Thank you, Jimmy Lou. We need an extra inch. So we have to, yeah, sometimes, you know, like, sometimes it's okay because, you know, in true junk journaling style, you can have any size. It doesn't even have to be 8.5 by 11, you know, kind of deal. It can be any size paper. And I do love the true, you know, junk journaling style where you just, you know, sometimes you don't even have a printable. You're just picking up, you know, this paper and that paper and all the papers. So it seems like this Bulgaria one keeps popping out. So let's just move it. Apparently it doesn't want to live where it was at. So we're moving that one. And then we've got, I'm just trying to not rush, but gosh, we're already at 20 minutes. Maybe I should have cut these down. Already used up 20 minutes. It's crazy how time flies. So I have that paper, and we'll put that in there. And then we'll put another cute, I mean, I kind of understand why Jimmy does it, you know, and Larry, who cuts them up and stuff, is because, you know, to do a 12 by 12 square is what I think they give us. I didn't measure it, to be truthful with you, beforehand. And it helps it keep it square, and to add another inch might be hard to do. So I think it just depends on what the material is that she's using. You know, it was okay to add the lace. So, and then we have this pink paper here that looks so 60s. And oh, I remember the wallpaper that was this flowers and stuff. Oh, just loved it. I loved just about every part of growing up in the 60s. I love every part of it. I had a really, to be truthful with you, I had a really rough childhood. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about how fun this is. Someday I'll tell you guys how rough my childhood was. But it made a good person. I turned out okay, I think. Anyways, so how is, I'm just excited today. I really am so excited. I know you can hear it in my voice. I can hear it in my own voice how excited I am, but I'm excited to see what other people are going to do today and how they're going to take this same material and turn it into whatever. And I do believe you can get this material still from Jimmy Lou. I think she still has it in her shop. So if you guys want to join in on our fun, you guys can, I think, pick up this material from Jimmy Lou and join us in this great journey that we take, and the Journal Pals. And I do believe we're streamed into the Junk Journaling Jamboree. I almost want to cut this one down because it's just sticking out too far for me. So I am going to cut it down, just because it's driving me nuts having it. I swear I swear I'm not OCD, but maybe a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe. Like I said, I was born in an era where they didn't have labels. I didn't know what it was. But my friends and I had so much fun. Like I said, hitchhiking to the beach, the stories that I could tell you of us hitchhiking. And there was probably, I think there was, between the girls and the guys, there was probably 10 of us that hung around each other, you know, like a good group. And we're still, for the majority, we're still all friends. And we've all survived. So, but we're all married and great grandmas and great grandpas now, or some of them are just grandpas, you know, or grandmas. But I started real young, and I think I want this as my my opening page. So I'm gonna trim down this one, and we still have a few more pages over there. So let me move this one over. I want to trim that white off because I don't want to see that white. If not, I'm just going to have to zhuzh it up. You know, I'm going to have to distress all that white off of there. And I don't mind the white over here. So I do have a doily I want to put in. So let's put this blue in here. And I'm going to put this backwards because I'm going to use it as a pocket, and we'll have to cut that off. I'm trying to not really rush, but you know, we only have an hour. So we kind of have to rush a little bit. But I want to enjoy this journey because to me it's just bringing back such, you know, when you have a really rough childhood, you have to grab for all of the great things that you did get to do. You know what I mean? You can't focus on the bad. You have to, you know, reach out. That's what I've done this past year, is to teach myself to not look back at the days that were super hard, but to focus on the actual great days that came from it. You know, it's what's got me through. So I'm going to put this page backwards because of that white, and we'll make pockets out of it. Oh, Bobby Cat. Our Bobby Cat. That cat has brought me inside a little furry mouse almost every day this week. Last night he didn't bring me one in, so he either didn't catch one or he decided to share it with somebody else. Okay, we're going to count our pages and see if we have to remove something. I saw this on, I think it's the 365 days or something like that. And she was showing how to make this cute little pocket where you take 2 pages. So I'm going to add this in. I think we'll add it right there. Do you think my husband would go over there and stop that cat? No. All right. So somehow I ended up with this really cool page as my center, which is actually kind of neat. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. All right, so we're just going to find out why this little booger didn't fold right. And then we're going to get our clamps, our little kit, and let's count our pages, see if we have way too many. So I have 1 page, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so 22 is really, really pushing the boundaries. So it's going to be a chubby wubby if I leave all of them in. But can I find a couple to take out? I don't know. I love them all. How do I take one out? It's like leaving, you know, somebody home alone. I don't know. I mean, some of them, I think we're going to do it. I think we're just going to leave it at that. And because this is going to actually be a pocket with that one. So we could have counted that as 1. And we're going to do it. We're just going to leave it. I can't. I can't leave one of them out. I mean, you know, technically one of them is just a doily. I mean, come on, can it really count as a page if it's just a little doily? No. Hi, Janet. Thanks for coming in. Hi, Cindy. Thank you for coming in. You remember the hippie days? I bet you do, Carol, remember the hippie days. I was, yeah. Oh my. Telling you. Some days I wonder how we did survive, especially, like I said, we did hitchhike. But we never hitchhiked by ourselves. We had that. We had that pact between us that we wouldn't hitchhike by ourselves. And boy, my mom, I don't know if my mom ever knew that I was hitchhiking. I don't know. I really don't think she ever knew. Maybe she knew when it was time, you know, when I was older. But like I said, I got married 3 days after my 15th birthday. This one page still wants to be, it's like it's tweaked somehow. So we got to fix it, because if not, it's going to drive us crazy later. So we might as well take the 1 second and find out why it's not folding correctly. And it's because, look, see how it's folded? That's why. So we have to get it folded correctly, or it's just going to always live crooked, you know, because it was in the hippie days and it was probably stoned. No, I wasn't. And that's another story for another time. And where did I take this out at? I was going to use it there with this white. And then we just need to make sure all of our pages are going the right direction, because I just noticed that. So let me just double check to make sure all my pages are facing the right. Hi, Becky. Thank you for coming in. So let's just give it one flip through one more time just to make sure everything is going the right direction. I think I was very fortunate that I was allergic to a substance that a lot of people to this day use. I was allergic to it, so I couldn't use it. So I guess I was fortunate. So it looks like everything is the right direction. So let's clamp it, and we'll move on to our second signature. No, Bobby Cat, you're not allowed in here. I know. Life's hard as a cat. Life is hard to be a cat. I know. He's a California cat. He's a little hippie himself. And he moved here with us. And he's doing really good on the ranch. Okay, so we have one more signature to build, and then we can sew them in. And then we can start decorating probably next time. So here we have our Bulgaria bag. So we just need to trim off the bottom, because if not, if you don't trim that off, when you want to go use it later, it's going to be harder to use. No. How many of you guys spend your day saying no to animals? Or children still? I don't. My kids are grown, and I got 6 great grandkids, which I try to not say no to. Okay, so we have to cut all of these down again. Lay down. This one's a little tweaked, so we're gonna fix that one right off the bat. Look at that. I mean, just all the tie-dye that came out of the 70s was just amazing. In the 60s. So I was born in the 50s, but I was born right at the tail end of the 50s. So I think we're going to do the same thing. We're going to keep this as a trifold because it already is. We know we want to cut down these because they were just sticking out way too much for the other one. So let's move that. We'll trim that one down. And I will go back. Hi, Sue. How are you today? I'm hot. All this work of having to build the signatures. I was going to cut this little fray thing off, but I really kind of like them. So I'm just going to flip this up, make it a pocket, making sure it's, you know, under my 8 inches. And then I'll turn it this way and make it straight. And we will flip this out and make it a little pocket where it goes in. We got that page, we got that page. And then I wish they wouldn't put labels on the vellum. I mean, I guess they have to because they gotta sell them. But they should at least put something on that you can get them off. You know. There we go. They wanted 99 cents, but it was 40% off, I think. So I'm just going to cut that down. And we'll put that in. Boy, this room, I got a fan over there to put in here, but I have not gotten it put in yet. I am going to cut this paper, all this white off on this one, and we'll just make it a short page, because I don't know what I would do with all that white. Like I said, all this printables, other than buying, you know, the pages, you know, like just the colored pages and stuff like that, the only printable I'm using in this book is from Lisa Siegel, from the Vintage Roots. So and all of them are on Facebook. You can get them all from her. And you can get them for free, which is, oh my goodness. There's not a lot of things in the world that are free. And this paper, I might, I see it this way, but all of the wording, and that bothers me having my wording. So I think I'm going to do this one as a tall skinny and cut it down that way. Because it doesn't have to be all the same width. Just has to not be taller than 8 inches. So, and then I can use this cute part of it for a belly band or something, or a pocket. We're going to do that, and then we got to cut this one down. So like I said, these are the only ones that I paid for, are these cute little, they're kind of like cardstock. And that'll be okay. But other than that, I didn't pay for, to get our printables in here. And then we get to pick out our color for what we're gonna sew it in with. So does anybody have any idea on what others have picked today, on what, you know, like you've been watching these people, you have an idea of their styles and stuff, but did anybody think, oh, Liz is gonna do her book as a hippie? Be honest, did anybody like really think that Liz is gonna pick the hippie one? Or did you have any idea on what I would have picked as my printable? And these ones are printed front and back, which is really nice that my husband did that for me. I think I'm gonna do this back to back this way though. And that way I can use it as a pocket. Oh, we'll still have to go through and move them around maybe. That's the hard part, is moving, you know, what page goes with which page and that kind of stuff. That to me takes the longest. And I'm not throwing any of these out because we don't know if we're going to need them for something later. And that's super cute. And then I have this one I made with like the maps. And these are little pockets, so I'm going to add that in there. we're going to go ahead and we're going to use that as the centerpiece again. I feel like you guys can't keep up with what I'm doing because I'm just moving papers all over the place. You had no idea? Thanks, Debbie. I shocked you, huh? You're supposed to get rain? Oh, I don't think we have rain in our forecast for 9 days. It's just gonna be in the hundreds. No rain. It's hot. It's humid and hot in West Texas. And for the people that are new, my name is Liz, and I live on a ranch in West Texas, and there's 4 generations that live on our ranch. And we're all home. My daughter was on a 6-week vacation, and they got home, and I got to see her yesterday, and I'm like, I finally feel like I can breathe. And so all the kids are home right now. Well, I don't know if they're physically on the ranch right at the moment, but they're all, everybody's here is what I'm trying to say. And it's like, whew, finally I can just take a little break from having to be the worry wart. But when you're a mom, it never stops. You just never stop that, you know. Just because your kids grow up and have kids, and then their kids have kids, doesn't mean you ever get to stop worrying about them. So, I know I'm moving off camera, but there's no way around it sometimes. I'll put that there. I'm going to put this pink here. Oh. That one was cut down. Okay, the pink, we still have to cut the pink down. And I have, the colored papers that I'm using is just paper stock, like, you know, it's very thin. It's just normal, you know, like copy paper, but it's colored, because I didn't want all that extra weight. Because some of these pages I have in here are, you know, cardstock. So, and since we have so many pages, you've got to be careful. We need it to fit. We need it to fit. And, oh, you should see some of the stuff I have. I actually have some old-fashioned peace signs that we're going to put in here. And I think we'll use this as the opening page for this one. And we're going to have that as our center, so we have to add in this cute little doily, or whatever you want to call that. It's a coffee filter. And then we need to add in a doily. Let's see. I know I'm missing comments. Hi, Judy. Thank you for coming in. And Teresa, thank you for coming in. Thank you for kicking out my cow patties. They're going to be, yes. I don't, do you think they're going to worry? I think my daughter might worry about me. Like if I don't check in. Let's see, we're going to make that into that pocket. I think I'm going to put this brown here because I really don't like that stark white there. So let's put that, and then we can put our little Bulgaria in there. And we have to find a spot for this. And then I pulled out the onion paper, but you know what? I don't think we actually put it in the other one, and we already had 20-something pages, so I don't think we needed it. So now we have our hippie page in here. Okay, so let's count this one and see where we're at. So, oops, I think I did not get this one cut down. So let me cut that one down. Thought I did everyone, but I left one out. And we'll count them, and then we'll see if we can get it sewn in. I still have 15. We can sew in 2 signatures. I sewed in 5 signatures in an hour. I can sew in 2, right? Did you like that? Did anybody get to check out my little boy's journal that we made? Got 5 signatures sewed in. I liked using this to kind of push all the papers down and around. Let's count. Let's count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so this one only has 20, which I'm fine with it not being exactly the same. I really am. I don't think people actually are going to sit there and count, right? I think they like it to be the same. But since I don't really have a, my printable is just one that, where's my other clamps? All right, let's just move the box in front of us, right? And then we're only off one page. I think we're okay. I could put that onion paper in, but I don't have an onion paper in the other, so I think it would be just better off to keep it like this. I think somebody's borrowing my clamps out of my, oh, here they are. Hi Rita, thank you. It turned out cute. I can't wait to actually, that little boy's journal is going to go on my trip with me because it's going to Virginia. So I should probably put it in the car now so I don't forget it. No. It was my luck. I ended up forgetting it. I had to go put it in the trunk. Put it right around the trunk for a little while. Okay, so let's pick out our color. So we have all of these colors to choose from. I think I'm going to have this as my second signature, and this is my first. So we have our two signatures. Oh, that's going to fit in there nicely. See, now, if we didn't add that extra to it, I would have had to chop a lot of the papers off. Okay, so now we got to pick our color. So I'm going to see it on the outside unless I have a severe problem with it. I don't plan on covering it up, but I do have enough of this pink that if it does look bad on the end, we can put this over it. So I do have this pink, which looks okay. And I have a darker pink, like a fuchsia, which was the color of the 70s. Everybody had to have fuchsia. Fuchsia actually looks cute because it matches the darker color. And I don't think my blue, it's more green in it than what's in here. So, or I could do white, but even the seam, you know, even the threads that they used to quilt this with was not white. They used pink. So I think I really like the, anybody saying? The pink, yeah. Pink or fuchsia? You like the lighter one or the darker one? I mean, we could use both. The darker one matches that lace, so I think I'm going to use the darker one. The fuchsia, yeah, that's what I'm going with. Okay, so let's use the fuchsia because it actually matches this really well. And if I got to cover it up, I can cover it up with that. Okay, so we need to get our awls. Got those. And we need to get our needle out. Now with material, I'm going to try and pick one that's sharp. Because these are not all sharp. Like this one's got a nice point. So I'm going to pick that one with that nice little point there because it'll help me get through that material easier. The only problem with those sharp ones is you don't want to tear up your paper that you're punching through. Okie doke. let's cool off for a second and we can do it. It is the signature. Yes, it is. Fuchsia was the color of that century, or that of that era, I should say. So we're going to do 3 and then give ourselves a little bit extra just for fun. And now comes, you know, everybody's fun part, sewing in on live. Right? If something's going to happen, it's going to happen now. So let me take my back signature out. Or, I don't know how many people actually start with the back or at the front. I'm just kind of trying to measure, making sure that I'm even. And so I'm just laying that one in there just so I have, you know, a good idea where I want to be. And then I'm going to lift it out because I'm going to have a lot of moving and things. Moving and grooving, as they would say. What was your, whoever was in that era, what was your favorite word that you used to use? I think mine was, it's a funny word too. I don't even know how it got. So I'm just going to punch a hole because this is 21 or 22 pages, right? So I'm going to use my might and get through and make sure that I'm right through the edge of my spine. But my word, hi Debbie, thank you for coming in. We have 2 Debbies right next to each other. Hi Lynn, thank you for coming in. I think my word was botchin'. I think because we weren't allowed to say the real word because my mom thought it was a cuss, you know, like a cuss word. So we would say, oh, that's so botchin'. You know, it's like the 50s was cool and neat and nice, and then the 60s and the 70s came out, and then we had like, you know, groovy and rad, and, well, I don't know, maybe rad was later, but mine was botchin'. You know, it's like, oh, that's so botchin'. It sounds so stupid now when you say it. Yeah. You're from the 80s. Oh my goodness. I do love the 80s music. They were the best. That's when I met my husband, was in the 80s. And the 80s music was definitely the best music. For rock and roll anyways, I think. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I have these pulled way far, and I need to put them back in just so I have my lineup where I want my papers to go. Because I was like getting carried away with how far I had that out. So now I'm going to punch it through my quilt. And we're just going to, before I sew it, I'm just going to make sure that it looks straight. And nothing looks out of place. The material itself will heal if you pull out, you know, the needle, but the papers inside will not. Paper will not heal itself unless you get it wet, you know, and add something back to it. So that looks good. All right, we ready to do this? We can do it. I got 7 minutes. Okay, so I always start in the middle. I'm gonna take out my middle, and I'm just going to go straight through. And like I said, the material itself closes real fast. It heals itself super fast, especially this quilting material. And for some reason, I always end up going to the bottom. I don't know why, I just do. I think it's because it's there. And like I said, this material has already closed itself up because it is thick material. So I already lost my hole. So I'm going to have to punch again, which is okay. You know, it's not a big deal. Don't stab yourself with your awls because they are sharp. I'm just going to find my little hole there. And then I'm just going to feed it through. Man, it does not want to go through this material. So I hope everybody else has this problem today. Why is not wanting to go through? It is 2 layers. Okay, we got it through. And don't forget, we're going through 20 pages of paper too. All right, I'm gonna have to turn it around. This is what happens when you try to do 20 pages, right? Just don't panic and feed it through. That's all you can do. Is don't panic and just feed your needle through. Ugh. That's what happens when you try to do so many. Oh, I don't think I ever heard that one. Should have ate your wheels. Oh, wheats. My Wheaties. I get it. I thought you were talking about the 60s comment. I'm like, I don't think I ever heard that one. All right, so we got to go all the way, but I've got quite a mess, so I don't want to let go until I get it back over here. So let me just punch this back through and find my hole. I made a good hole on that one, so we're good with that one. I'm not sure I'm liking this needle. It's pretty thick. And before I pull, I'm just trying to get my thread to be lined up. And then I'm going to pull back on this center one because I pulled it pretty hard. And now we got to go back down this center. Woohoo! We're going to have fun going down this center because it's already a big one. Already a big hole. But it will be all right. It will be all right. I have faith. We're in. So let me just get this over on that side. And we're in. Did I use up my time? Oh, I still have 2 minutes. 3 minutes to sew the other one in. So let me just get this one tied off. I think that needle is just really thick. So let me just, am I pulling it too tight? No. And we'll tie it and we'll see if we can sew the other one in, not have as much trouble. And then I will post a live when I will work on it again. And don't forget our lineup that, you know, the Shabby Heart by Vines is going to be up next. And you're watching it on the Junk Journaling Jamboree. You just need to refresh your page. All right, so let's get our thread back out. So we need 1, 2, 3. And then after Shabby Hearts by Vine, Sue B will be up. And we'll have to see what she's going to do. All right, so now we got to get this one in. And I just want to make sure it's going to line up. So I'm just lining it up. And I'm leaving myself about a ½ inch or so in between each one. And we're going to poke our hole. And we're going to put it through our super tough quilting material. Well, they don't quilt like that anymore, I'm telling you. They want you to be able to keep that quilt for 70-something years, 60 years. I don't know where Jimmy Lou found this quilt material at, but somebody was having fun with it. Can you imagine the stories that this quilt can tell? How many picnics and parties and I can't imagine the stories that came behind this quilt. Was it in some little girl's room that always wanted to be a little hippie? All right, let's thread our needle and we'll sew it in. Oh, my time's up. So everybody go watch Hearts by Vines and I will sew this in. Talk to you guys later. Thank you for joining me today.